8:30, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
John Reichheimer,
Here.
Stacy Hessel, Mark Helwig, Tom Duffy, Jeff Haney.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The meeting agenda is set. Public comments. I have Linda Zilmer.
This meeting was noticed to the media and public as required by section 19.84 of Wisconsin statutes.
Been an early morning already. Thanks, Liz.
Linda Zilmer, property taxpayer in both Washburn and Sawyer counties. Earlier this morning, I sent an email to you all asking you to look at that before the county board adopts a budget next week at your regular board meeting. And I've highlighted some things from Washburn County, their best practices. I'm a little bit concerned. I know Supervisor Hessel and I both attended the Northwest Regional Planning Executive Committee meeting, and there was discussion amongst the county board representatives there about using general obligation debt to exceed levy limits. And I have to say that I had long ago been frustrated with Washburn County because they were the ones that started that practice, I think, and then encouraged other counties to do it. But I will let you know that with the information I sent you in the email today, you can see that Washburn County is paying their full $3.3 million of capital improvement projects within the levy limits. They do not do short-term borrowing to exceed levy limits, and their mill rate will be 2.40, I think, if they pass their budget. They have their budget hearing tonight. My email also explains that between 2021 and 2025, Sawyer County has increased property taxes 20%. And if I understand the public notice correctly, that the way the budget is proposed right now, that would be an increase of another 7%. And so just to maybe look at the details, look at your capital improvement list, make some adjustments within the budget, and possibly consider passing your 2026 budget without the short-term borrowing. And also last night at Public Works, I talked about some risk management and spoke to the how Wisconsin County's mutual insurance companies started, because some counties, including Sawyer County, had such bad experience ratings that first their premiums increased, and then the commercial market would not even insure Sawyer County. So there are a lot of things that aren't just dollars and cents that the county can do around safety, internal controls, and segregation of duties to minimize risk, and all to a long-term benefit. Thank you.
Consider approval of minutes from last meeting. Motion by Tom Duffy, second by Stacy Hessel. Any discussion? All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Minutes approved. Number 9, CEP request for waiving or repayment extension of $5,000 loan.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Skylar Durrell Ader. I'm here as the Executive Director of Northwest Wisconsin SEP. I've been with SEP for about little over 11 years, and for the last year as Executive Director. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today and for your continued partnership with Northwest Wisconsin SEP. Sawyer County has always represented what we stand for: hard work, accountability, and strong communities. SEP has been serving Northwest Wisconsin since 1968, helping people gain the skills, training, and experience they need to get back to work and to stay there. Over the years, our funding has continued to decline while our responsibilities have grown, but we've stayed focused on efficiency and outcomes. We help people move from public assistance to paychecks, from unemployment to tax-paying citizenship, and from short-term need to long-term stability. I'm here today to discuss the $5,000 loan that Sawyer County made to SEP. We are fully prepared to repay that amount if that is the board's decision. However, several of our partner counties and board representatives have begun conversations about whether these loans might be revisited or converted into grants. The idea is to recognize the real-world funding conditions and continued return these dollars bring back to our local communities. Federal funding through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, also known as WIOA, has once again declined, as it has for many years. And the timeline for those contracts has become less predictable. For example, funds that we expect in April might not come until October. Loan relief would allow us to keep these dollars working right here in Sawyer County, supporting local workers and employers instead of sitting in limbo during federal delays. That investment is paying off. We've served 1 in every 70 Sawyer County residents through job training, youth apprenticeship, career academies, and health insurance support. Over the current 2-year youth apprenticeship grant period, 60 Hayward High School students have gained paid, hands-on experience with over 20 local employers. These students are earning real wages and becoming the next generation of tax-paying citizens who will strengthen this county's workforce and beyond. And sometimes the best success stories come full circle. A while back during career fair at Winter High School, one of the employers shared that earlier they had been put through welding school through Northwest Wisconsin SEP. Today, that same individual owns a business and hires local students. That's what happens when we invest in people who want to work. They give back. So while we are prepared to repay the loan if required, I respectfully ask the board to consider loan relief as a way to help keep this investment circulating locally, helping people get back to work, supporting the businesses that hire them, and reinforcing the shared values of personal responsibility and community self-reliance. Thank you for your time, for your partnership, and for your continued support of our mission to help people build better lives through work. I did hand out previously a little packet with some information on the county, some success stories, and what we do if you have any questions.
And this is counties all throughout Northwest Wisconsin.
Yes, we serve 10 counties.
And is loans being given by each of the counties or?
So 5 counties had given us the loan. This is only the second board that I've spoken with on this. I went to Bayfield County last week, but that was not an action item at that time. So.
But the initial, out of the 10, 5, one of them being Sawyer?
Yes,
Did a loan,
yes.
okay.
Does anybody have any questions for me?
And so you're looking for, so has the loan been paid back? Is that,
Oh,
no?
It's due December 31st of 2025. Was issued in July.
Right, so it'll be
24.
paid back and then loan another 5,000, or are you looking for relief on the?
That's up to you. We would be appreciative of anything. Right now, we're just experiencing some delays, as is everybody with funding, with just some inconsistent timelines. We've done a lot of recovery. We've cut over $1 million out of our budget through efficient means, trying to streamline different things. So this investment really does make a difference for us. So whatever your wishes or consideration would be.
So am I correct? When we gave the loan out, it was just to help them get out on their feet? And then it was supposed to be just like a recovery effort? Do we give them money otherwise?
We do not know. And you are correct. In July of, 24, we gave them the loan. They presented to the 10 counties, I believe at the time. We were one of the 5 that did it with a payback, basically an 18-month payback.
Right. And so what if we do, I guess, waive it? What does that come out of? It's setting precedents. I know that for a fact, but what does that come out of?
Well, the expense wasn't budgeted in 2024, so it just came out of any surplus that we produced. I didn't budget the repayment in 2025, so it wouldn't technically have to come out of anything if we did not ask for repayment, because we already took it out of 2024 surplus at the time, anticipated surplus, which we did have.
What's the likelihood if we didn't waive it of even getting it back anyhow?
Well, how long of an extension are you looking for? That's the first question.
Again, that's open. Some counties had talked about just a revolving fund where, we'd come and if you did need that money back, of course, at some point we'd pay it, but just kind of keep it rolling. The other discussion was just completely, forgiving it as well. Or of course, paying it back.
Yeah, because the initial discussion was just to get on your feet and then
Correct.
you guys would pay it back. So that's where now, I don't know. I'd like to have forgiveness on my loans too. but-
No, I definitely understand. And my predecessor, I believe Jeff is who spoke with you at the time. Things were a lot different. So as I said, we are prepared to pay it back. Just reaching out to the counties to see if they want the dollars to keep circulating in the community.
And it's not 50,000, it's 5,000, so I get it.
Right.
I just worry about the setting the precedence
More
of
the
it.
precedent than the money would be if there's an issue with it. I mean, part of me is wondering if, what's easiest? I mean, from a book standpoint, just forgiving it and moving on, or as long as you don't come back and ask for more.
To my knowledge, the only two other situations where the county has given either a loan or advance, the first one being the fair about, was that 5 years ago? And they've been paying that back annually. And then the second one was last year at this time, we gave a partial advance to the Senior Resource Center on what we would be contributing for 2025. So basically, we paid in advance and carried that on the books as a prepayment. So those are the only two instances, and we haven't forgiven any. The impact would be, as Ms. Hessel said,
And that's the issue, because that's why these things are, dollars and cents wise, aren't a lot. But
But it's
it
present
adds up
value.
over time when, okay, 5,000 here, 5,000 there. Eventually, it's maybe eye-catching.
Well, then we have the favor saying, well, can we, just get rid of our loan then, right? Possibility.
So,
And if it would make sense to pay it off and renew something, we could do that too. We're pretty flexible with your generosity.
I mean, I support all the efforts that you give to the county. I know how it impacts our schools. I just, to come back after asking for the loan and saying, can you waive it? That's where
I guess I would probably rather see a repayment, and then if the board chose to reissue it again, to do that so that it is not precedent setting.
Mhm.
repay it and then set up a new loan.
Mhm.
so I make a motion
So we get interest on
for,
that?
What's that?
Is it paid with interest or was it?
No, we did not ask for interest.
So you didn't have paid off, just reissue it. What does that achieve then?
you have control if you want to reissue it or not, is what he's saying.
Oh,
So I make a motion for the repayment of $5,000.
motion by Stacy Hessel,
I'll second that.
second by Mark Helwig. Discussion?
And then if they wanted to, they can come back in December or say January and possibly ask for it again. Is that one?
Look to him.
Well, what I would say then is have that as a future agenda item to consider a second loan to SEP.
What if they become a partner? If they become a partner like the other entities, if that's something that we budget then in the future, so that we're not going back and forth
Yeah.
loans wise.
I would have to look in to see if it's one of the statutory organizations we could support, but yeah.
Right, because I'd rather have it that way than keep going back and forth. But that's just my personal opinion.
Okay, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Number 10, 2026 budget.
This is our third look at the 2026 budget, so I'm going to just go through quickly and kind of highlight, there was one change from the previous two presentations, and I'll talk about that. The change was I did work with the bank and get an actual interest calculation for the CIP borrowing, and that came in right around $30,000, 32,000, I think, which is about 3,000 less than I had budgeted. So that is the change. It does affect the levy, so it affected many different things, and I'll kind of go through page by page and lay that out. Well, if we skip down to proposed Sawyer County levy page, which is right there. Go up one more, actually. So these are the expenditures. That's the debt service repayment that previously was just under $3,500. Still very close, but it's down about $3,000 from what had been presented. That also affects the total expenditures in the amount of about $3,000. The next page is the levy itself. Again, debt service is reflective of that decrease of $3,000. And again, the total levy would be reduced by that amount as well. As you remember, the increase in debt service levy, much of that is attributable to the communications upgrade that we're in the process of doing right now. That was a $2.825 million issue for that. Then the next page is that one I did not change. So line 9 there should be that 3497 as well. So that would be the reflective change there. And then the total levy would change. Fund balance draw does not change. The levy components, which is the next slide after this one, right there, and this one is small. But again, there's that debt service change and the total levy change again. Ambulance doesn't change. Library does not change. Outside organizations does not change. I do want to mention there's been some momentum to fully fund senior resource. I am prepared with that. It's a change of $9,000, $889, I think.
What does momentum mean? There's just been,
Several board members have approached me about it. So I'm just being prepared.
No, I get it.
I'm not saying that it will.
well, yeah, that's gonna, because it's gonna come up at the full board meeting, probably the library will too.
Correct.
On the senior resource center, and maybe you've asked this in the past, but I just get, it's like I can't calculate it or something. So it seems to be a plea over food, or is it a plea over delivering the food, or is it both?
It's both. The program is both production and delivery of.
And then there was mention that if they don't get it, they would have to go to some sort of criteria, like so that, maybe some that can afford it pay more, do whatever, some can't, but that the minimum will get, which I thought was a great idea, and actually surprised that they didn't do it. That wasn't already a base thing that they would do. And then here's where I can't reconcile in my head. So if it's about food, or the portion that's about food, government shutdown aside, these people are probably already on SNAP benefits. Is that, likely?
Not necessarily. I guess I wouldn't make that statement. They could, but they might not as well.
Well, that's my point. If they're not on SNAP benefits, they probably can't afford food then, right? I don't know the system inside and out, so.
I don't want to speculate for.
That's what I'm just kind of getting at. It's like, I feel for people, but is the county responsible for feeding this specific group? And then what other specific groups are we responsible for feeding? Where are the churches in the community? What are they doing? Or is the county the church in this case?
It's really two separate issues. This is a program the county can support statutorily. The county cannot contribute cash to a food pantry in lieu of SNAP benefits. Sort of things we can do and things we can't do. This is one we can. And, your speculation, obviously, if we can feed the seniors that need it, then that helps whether they're on SNAP or not.
Well, yeah, I guess I can speculate. That's neither here nor there, but I would be more comfortable if I'd like to see, in a perfect world, what is it they need to feed the needy? And that's the way I see it. Am I not seeing it right?
Well, I think there's more programs there than just feeding.
That's
So,
all we've heard about is the feeding and then the delivery.
but that's what pulls on emotions. So that's what it's gonna be. But there is, what other nonprofit, because they are considered a nonprofit, do we give money to? And so I think we have to look at, we don't own the Senior Resource Center. We don't know if that money is going to go towards pay. We don't know what is going to go towards. So what it's told is it's going to go for food, but it could go towards pay increases. It could go into all of that. And that's a nonprofit. Correct. So that's where I think that, we just spoke to that group and said, we're not going to waive your $5,000. because of setting precedents. So I think I would say setting precedents should be what we're doing as a board and not saying, here's money, go do with it what you want. What if the people still aren't getting fed, but this increases the pay? Or, I know that the portions, but it all comes back down to the food, and we're not given a lot of data on where all the money is going otherwise. So I know that it pulls on people's heartstrings. My mom uses the program. My dad used the program. I get the need for the food program. I'm just wondering, and I get the need for like the balance classes and things of that nature. I totally support them, but they are still a nonprofit. And so we're helping a nonprofit, but we have no control of what that money is being used for.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. It is not a county program. We contribute to the program. So, and we don't, I get their financials, I get their budget, but no, I don't get a breakdown of every county dollar where that goes.
Are there other than individual donors and fundraisers, who else so the county would be a major donor? What other major donors? Are there any? Do we know?
Well, GUAR is the biggest funding source for them.
What is?
GUAR, that's a state program that does give the money for food.
So but it's all,
service.
the major donors are government entities. There's not like a
For major
Johnson
sources,
Bank or whoever
correct.
is not,
Maybe Botanical is doing a fundraiser for them too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of efforts going into it.
Yeah, they've done some very nice things. They had a new fundraiser this year where instead of, well, not instead, but they mentioned along with handing out candy for Halloween, would you mind contributing for meals for seniors? And I believe that raised $8,000 at the last report, 9,000 now. So that's been a very successful fundraiser.
Well, if inflation continues and goes up, we would probably expect to have to pay more next year.
And we do increase our contribution annually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which we already did, right?
Hmm.
So where would that $9,000 come from?
It would just be an increase in the fund balance draw. So it'd go from 382,000 to 391,000, or I don't know if those are the exact numbers, but
But in a business and in other entities, when we're telling all of our agencies, you have to stay within a budget. But we're telling these outside resources like the library and the senior center, I'm just using those two as an example. You don't have to stay within budget because you can come and you can ask for more money and you can make the county look bad until they give you that more money. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. And I know I'm being facetious, but I feel like everybody has to stay within a budget, every program, and to come and when it's budget season and tell us that we don't support seniors and we don't support reading, it's really harmful. And I think we just support staying within a budget. And that's why we're on finance, because we want to make sure you stay within the budget. That's our expectations of every government agency, stay within a budget.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point. It'd be easier to tell any county department to pound sand and not think twice about it. But the reality of the emotion, right? Sorry.
If you were to give any money, I would say only 4,500, not the whole nine, because they need to figure out how to, like you were saying, that going to that criteria. If they haven't done that before, then they definitely need to do it now.
Yeah, I would think they would have done that years ago as a
Exactly.
baseline, right?
I was surprised when they said, yeah, we're going to look at that. Well, you should have looked at that years ago.
and I am not advocating for the increase. Obviously, I presented what I presented as my
Right.
recommendation. I'm just saying that I've had several board members come to me, so I'm letting you guys know that
No, I get
I'm
it.
prepared for an answer on how we'll do it if that did be, if it was passed at the county board level.
Yeah, sometimes there's more representation for the outside source than the county. I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead.
That is what the discussion is around. Part of it, it's not only Meals on Wheels, it's meals for seniors. Many, many seniors come to the congregate sites to get the meals, but there are a large group that do get Meals on Wheels. So the request is to increase funding for that service.
We don't know that.
We don't know if that is going to go to. Well, we should ask that before we cut it. Well, they say that.
It was presented as such, yeah.
I don't think there's any way we can force that answer, or can we? We audit their books down the road? Probably not, right?
Brings up a good point. We're not cutting anything. We're giving them just the recommended amount by Mr. Markman as the financial director. But we're not cutting anything. We're not going backwards. We actually increased, just not to the level that they asked.
And they were here for the whole county tour.
Yep.
But we're still not cutting.
I know, but if there's a need, if the need is there. You just start cutting.
That's a great point, though, but back to Mark's point, we don't know what the need is and what the need isn't. I mean, I'm all for feeding the needy that really can't help themselves. That's not what I'm not trying to say, leave these people out. But if there's somebody that can afford the 5, 10, whatever it is for the meal, then I think it's their duty to pay it as well for that meal if they can afford it. If they can't, that meets their criteria.
Well, it sounds like a lot of people are just not paying. It's not
That'd be my
whether
guess.
They can or cannot, they're just not.
They're not
And
being
like
asked.
Stacy said, we're not cutting anything. They're just asking for more.
Well, what's the need, I guess? Generally, is the need there? Are we just cutting stuff?
Like I said, don't use the word cut. Cut is not the right word to use because we're already giving them more than we did last year. And they're asking for 9,000 above what we're giving them. So, when like I said, use the word cut is not the right word in this circumstance.
It's the same thing we've done every year since I've been here. They would ask for a fairly large increase. I would recommend something more in the middle. And that's what we have typically done in the past.
It's like the library asking for, this much, and we're not cutting we're just not giving them.
Right, it'll be the same thing there. Different, a little bit different twist.
But as far as the money for the Senior Resource Center, I mean, we all go grocery shopping, we can see what the price of food has gone up. I mean, you go to Walmart, you carry out 2 bags, it's $100, easy. As far as where the money's going, I mean, they got a lot, they got the building, they got to pay their drivers, the gas. There's a lot of things that it goes into. And they work, I mean, I'm on the Senior Resource Center board, and them people do a lot of things on their own time. I've worked at that big rummage sale they had last summer. I mean, they're trying very hard to raise money on their own. And there's been a few people that donate money that have left the area now too, so they're being affected by contributions to them also, so. I
Do
mean,
you
we're
think-
gonna, the library is asking for 35,000. And Senior Resources is asking for 10. I think it's important to, feed the people that need it. And I know they want to do this tier system or whatever it's called, but it's gonna take them probably a year just to do it because they have to go to most of the houses to rate these people on their need for the food. So that might take them a year just to get that to set up.
But would I be correct in saying that it's not just going towards the food, Jeff? I'm not on that board, so I don't know. But if you could explain what else the needs are besides the food.
Well, I know they need, it's either a new refrigerator and freezer. The building is very hard to heat because like all the windows in the building, they should be replaced. I'm not saying that that's where that money's gonna go, but let's face it, $10,000 these days doesn't go too far when you have to take care of a building, and food and wages. I know some of the people are only making like $10 an hour. So I don't know what the main wage is there, but nobody's making a lot of money working at the Senior
You said
Resource
they
Center.
needed a new refrigerator?
Or freezer or something
Freezer?
for the food.
Well,
over there.
one route to go is like our food shelf. We went on Facebook and said, hey, we need a freezer. Like that, we got a freezer. Somebody donated a freezer. We need a refrigerator. We got a refrigerator. Are they doing stuff like that? Also, are they just going out and buying, regular brand stuff? Or are they trying to be, seem like my gal, she goes out, she checks everything and be like $1.87 over here for a can of peanut butter. Oh, I found it for 97 cents over here. So I just,
It's hard, because it's not us, we don't know where the money's going. What percentage do we fund this overall? Roughly?
I can find out exactly. No, very close
And
anyway.
the biggest one would be the state, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants the programs to go away. It's just trying to find out, why the budget is what it is. We don't hear a lot, from that group or besides, and then not having, there's things that we could help with. If they wanted to turn it over to the county, we could look at that too, if it's a hardship, because it feels like a lot of the times, at least in the last 2 years, it's been presented as a hardship to run. So if they need extra support, maybe we provide the extra support in lieu of money or, something of that nature, like the city does with the library. But how do we tell programs that we're not giving to you because we're going to give more to a nonprofit? That's hard to do.
Well, Jeff, you represent the group over there. Is there a fat in that request? Or is it bare bones request? I mean, as far as what the senior citizens want.
Well, I mean, some people can afford to buy it. I mean, I know they're raising the cost per $1 per meal now to try to offset this too. So there's gonna probably be more people that can't afford it. I mean, if they're already struggling and, they're raising the price of the meals, or who knows how many people are gonna say, I can't afford it no more.
Is the staff all volunteer or are they paid as well?
They're paid.
And what are they paid? Do we know?
It's not our program, I don't know.
See, that's a problem. We don't even know. To Stacy's point, I assume it, it sounds like it's gonna go to food, but it doesn't have to, and we would never know it.
Well, I mean,
Look
there's
at it on the
production
surface.
of food too. We have to have people to make the meals. It's,
Well, how many people are on the payroll? 1, 2?
that I don't know either.
There's more than that, because they have a whole kitchen staff.
Yeah, they have 2 full kitchens. They have one.
Is that something we could, do we ever ask for that? Or is it none of our business?
that would be none of our business. We're really not.
When they ask.
Well, but that's why I'm asking how much we contribute, because if it's a high percentage, it starts becoming more and more our business to understand that
Understand.
where you give things out.
I know they start at 10 an hour. I don't know what the max is. But I know they have, 2 drivers? They have people cooking the meals at both Hayward and Stone Lake.
When you say Stone Lake, that's actually on the Sawyer side, don't you?
Yeah.
They cook it excellent, I think, not Stone Lake, isn't it? Then don't they bust it down from?
Yeah, they bring it there, I believe. From where?
No, they cook there.
They cook in Stone
They
Lake.
cook there?
Yeah.
Winter?
Oh, Stone Lake, Stone Lake.
Yeah, Stone Lake and Hayward.
Oh, okay. Guess I should know more about it.
We have an advantage of, they're not our employees, but how many counties they are the county's employees? And that's saving us money also.
That's a benefit.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we really want them underneath our umbrella. That'd be a lot.
They're within our budget.
Agreed.
We have a meeting next week. If you want, I could bring that up as far as, if they can, where the money's going.
Before the
We have
board
to
meeting?
approve it on the 12th, so.
Oh, okay.
But it's still good information, because I don't think we should not have that, we should have that conversation year round, not just at budget time. Like we've asked the libraries to do, so.
What if we did something like held the line at what it is, requested to see the criteria program, whatever you call it, to set the criteria, kind of see what their need is after that. Could they approach us halfway through the year? I know that, I understand that would take time, but maybe under the gun, lack of a better way to say it, they can get it done in 6 months and revisit it.
That was a thought I had, that they could implement some of these changes they've talked about, reassess.
And then see.
Here and approach the county at that point.
Yeah, because they're gonna ask for more next year.
Oh, well, it's been that way ever since I've been on the board, so.
So it's, like I say, if they can at least show us that they're trying to do something to help out, then that would be good.
Well, if we don't give them what they request, what effect does that have on their services? What won't they do? What
Well,
can't
the
they-
thing is like, saying that it's.
We'll find out in 6 months, but go ahead.
Well, they needed a refrigerator, freezer, the building. It's not necessarily going towards the food program itself, correct?
We don't know.
Yeah, but without a freezer, without refrigerators, without a building, how are you gonna make these meals? I mean, it's not like you can go to Walmart and buy a $1,000 refrigerator or freezer. I'm sure these are big ones like
Oh,
you
yeah.
have in restaurants and that, so.
The USDA has helped them in the past because I helped them with their kitchen. And so there are resources other than that they could look into. And there's other senior centers that, they all could work together and see what the best practice is on that. But I think we're getting into the weeds just on the senior center, because there's a lot of people that are, wanting money in the budget. So we go down this tunnel vision every year on the senior center and the library, and maybe, we need to trust our financial directors. These two know what the county can do and not do. And so I respectfully would like to just support their reasoning for coming up with the budget. Otherwise, we're saying, well, no, we know better than you. And I don't think any of us know better than our financial directors. So.
All right.
There's no action on this unless somebody wants to propose something. Is that what you're saying?
The action will come in a little bit here.
Okay.
So continuing to move on, I've got the debt repayment schedule for the next 5 years and then the remaining payments. And that again has a change reflecting the reduction of $3,000 right there. So it would be the CIP repayment and then the total repayment for 2026. And that is the end of the changes. That's the estimated mill rate. And then the comps we've looked at. And then the next thing would be the FTEs, which we've looked at a couple times now. No changes from last year. And then the next one is the fee schedule, which we've gone through a couple times. Anybody have any questions on any of these? All the changes are in red. Attachment C is the CIP. Any questions on this? One thing we changed beginning with last year's, instead of issuing notes or bonds for CIP, we do it with a local bank for a very short term, which saves a lot of interest and no issuance costs this way either. Attachment D is the proposed salary schedule, wage schedule for 26 with an increase in January of 2% and then a 1% in July. Next So this is where the action occurs. This is the resolution to adopt the proposed 2026 Sawyer County budget, 2025 property tax levy to be collected in '26. The amount of the levy is down at the bottom of, if you want to scroll down just a hair, $15,925,777. This, the budget would change if senior resources funded differently, the levy would not change. If the library's funding is increased, that would change the levy.
Right. So we need to approve the budget, send it on to the board, but yet they can put in any requests.
Like they did last year, and then maybe Senior Resource Center would do the same.
Yeah, so your motion would be to
Approve it as.
approve the resolution, including the budget, the FTE count, the fee schedule, the capital summary, capital improvement summary, and the compensation plan, which are all spelled out on the agenda. If somebody wants to make a motion.
The only thing I'll say before any motion's made, I mean, going back to Senior Resource Center, is this the time if we decided to say do this, keep it as is, reevaluate it in 6 months after we've seen a criteria, that concept? I'm not making that motion. I'm just saying that if something, any adjustments we made now, and I don't know if for this board's sake, I mean, is it better to adjust things now, present it to the board, or to haggle over this at the full board meeting, which can be sometimes not productive?
I would probably recommend either making the motion to approve it as is or make a dollar adjustment now. If you're looking at down the road, I think that's something.
In better preparation for the full board meeting.
Well,
Right.
To make it less muddy.
Right, because that gets to be, the whole audience, the whole thing,
So
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to adopt the 2026 Sawyer County budget and the 2025 property tax levy to be collected in 2026. And I don't know what's happening to my microphone, sorry. And the 2026 and the 2026 authorized employees and the 2026 fee schedule and the 2026 capital improvement plan as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion by Stacy Hassel, second by Mark Helwig. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
I'd like to ask one question. We're talking about all this shortage of money and for the county. So what is this government shutdown doing to the county? Is it making an effect somewhere? It just seemed like it's got to have an effect on the county somewhere down the line here.
there's not a lot of direct effect to our operations yet. There's some stuff that could come. There's definitely direct effect to our constituents, people who are on SNAP and didn't receive benefits for November. There's that effect. As far as the county itself, there are some things, a couple things with sheriff potentially. There's one grant that we were talking about before the meeting that could be cut, which pays for part of our emergency services coordinator position. There are obviously some things with HHS that could be cut that would have some effect down the road as well. We're trying to keep our cards a little close until we know, to not cause a lot of fear. But we are, behind the scenes, we're looking at what the effect of some of those could be.
Now, the full board can still modify this budget.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. Treasurer's
One
no,
more.
sorry.
So 10G is a resolution for the bank loan not to exceed $2,177,558. And again, in addition to that, there would be interest of about $32,000. The interest rate for 4 months is 4.39%. Any questions?
Any questions on that?
Do you have any concerns or regarding this?
It's something the county's been doing for about 5 or 6 years now. I would like to not do as much in the future. We use 4 revenue levy exemptions. One is libraries, one is bridge aid, one is ambulance, thank you. And then the final one is any debt issue. So to not do this would leave quite a hole in our budget. We do have a healthy fund balance, especially when you look at it general fund only. We look at fund balance for operations, we also have HHS, which is its own fund we had a healthy fund balance. We've had to dwindle it down. At the end of the year, we'll probably be down to about $300,000. And then we have highway, which is its own fund. And that, on the surface, when you look at the financials, looks like it has a very healthy fund balance. But the fund balance that's there is net equipment, net of depreciation. So as far as unassigned fund balance, there's virtually nothing. So those 2 separate funds almost equal the general fund. The general fund's about 19 million for 2026. Those 2 together are over 16 million. So it's quite a chunk of money where we don't have a lot. So when I talk about fund balance, we really that needs to cover those, because what we've done in the past is we make general fund contributions to those 2 funds to get them back to square one, basically, for the year. So when I look at it that way, we are right at about our 30% that the board has directed us to be around. So we're working on things behind the scenes to make the budget a little healthier. We're working with HHS to try to get some additional revenue streams we haven't experienced in the past. We're looking at efficiencies there. We're doing that with other departments as well. I've got a 5-year plan. In the past, since I've been here, we've had budgeted fund balance draws basically to fund both highway and HHS. In the past few years, due to stumpage sales exceeding budget, interest income has been very strong. We haven't had to actually draw to make those contributions. For this year's budget, I worked with department heads to get their revenues more at historical data. So we're not going to have that excess funds at the end of the year that we've experienced the last couple of years for sure. So this year we've got a budget fund balance draw of $382,000. We're likely to have to draw that, so that's going to reduce fund balance. And then like I always say, I look 5 years down the road. I've got a plan of through 2030 of what it's probably going to take. Very rough at this point. I will dig in more this next year, but it has fund balance draws in every year, and those are going to be more likely to occur. So we're looking at probably between $2.5–3 million draw over the next 5 years, unless something drastic changes. And I've got tentative amounts budgeted in for carbon credits. We're not going to see anything in 2025, probably not in 2026. We may sell some credits, but not collect, because the first dollars go to the third party who is orchestrating the sale. That's how the contract was written 2 or 3 years ago, whenever the board signed that. So we won't see any. We'll sell some in 2026, but the initial part is going to go to the third party to recover the costs they've had in marketing and setting up the program and everything. So 2020, I do have some budgeted for 2027, a little more for 2028, and then I'm hoping by 2029, we should be getting, well, I'm hoping to be getting around $1 million a year in carbon credits. And then that should go in perpetuity unless some legislation changes that makes it not as desirable for companies to purchase them. So that'll be coming. Hopefully we're getting some of these other programs up and running that will generate some revenue for the county and some of the adjustments we're looking at. So then, and I'm also looking, I don't want to leave the next administrator in a hole. I want the county to be in good financial position at the point A. Turn it over or you get rid of me or whatever happens. I would never want, I would never want to leave the next person in trouble. So I'm conservative by nature, a saver by nature, to have, so that there's not a financial cliff down the road. That's how I've always operated in governmental finance, and so far so good. But some would say I'm too conservative, but
Well, if you were more conservative, we wouldn't have to get a loan, so maybe we need to look at that. But I'll make a motion to approve the bank loan not to exceed $2,177,000. The amount shown. Sorry, my brain's not working today.
I'll second that.
Motion Stacy Hessel, second Mark Halwig. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer Brian's not here. Is there something written or anything to say in the treasurer's report?
I don't have anything for that.
Okay, we'll move on. Finance Department report, monthly sales tax report. Okay. It's okay.
Okay, so we'll move on. Hitting the sales tax report for October. You can see October's the highest month we've ever had. Last month, you might remember that I mentioned September's distribution came out early, so potentially the entire month of July wasn't reflected in there. This increase in October would go to show that we've captured the end of July and all of September in there. Still tracking to finish above 3 million, and it's showing about a 5.7% increase, which is huge considering last year was relatively flat, not even quite a 0.5% over the year prior. Moving on, budget performance report. We're through the end of October, which is, you'd expect to see 83% in revenues and expenses at this point in the year. Nothing major to note there. Revenues are tracking a little ahead at 86%, so that's positive for us. Expenses are at 78%, so a little behind, which again is positive. And the one thing that I would note here is we did budget a fund balance draw for 25. We have not drawn on that yet, so none of that is reflected in these numbers or totals. And so that's something positive at this point in the year. HHS is doing a great job of staying on top of pulling in additional revenues that they can and really tracking their expenses. We've done a lot of work with them to kind of stay on top of that. 83% revenues, 85% expenses, and then as we always note, any of that activity for October is captured at the beginning of November, and then those grant claims are turned in. So we would still have revenue coming in for the month of October that we'll see in November. So they're sitting in a good position right now. Same with highway, 72% revenue, 76% expenses. Expenses always track a little bit ahead of their revenues. They've just finished their construction, and so we know that their expenses have probably been a little bit higher each of the last few months. And of course, they're again capturing their month-end activity, the beginning of the following month, and turning in for those reimbursements that they get. Questions? Moving on, this no CIP to report for October. There weren't any purchases made. So the two departments that we're hitting on this month are maintenance and IT. 24 is the first thing we'll look at for maintenance. Generally, we don't see any revenue in maintenance. Now and again, we'll have a sale of a miscellaneous item or something that we will plug back into their budget. Their expenses for 24 finished at 97% of budget. So they did a very good job of being fiscally responsible and staying within what they expected to spend. Looking at 25 year to date, they're at 86% of budget, so slightly ahead. The one item that I would mention here is that if you look at their health insurance line item, they're at 96% of what was budgeted. And so it just goes to show what an impact that can have on a budget when we have staffing changes and those benefit elections change. But nothing alarming there. IT is pretty straightforward and simple as well. They finished just ahead of budget last year at 102%. Largely attributed to software licensing and maintenance fees. And they do their very best to plan for what we're going to need and what those needs are. We exceeded that with some of the projects that happened in 24. But looking at 25, they're 79% of budget. So below the 83% that we'd expect to see. So tracking very well for the year. And then the last, any questions on those? The last item that I have is the September investment report. Numbers haven't changed a whole lot from the previous month. We're slightly ahead of the previous year, so that's always positive to see. Interest rates remain steady, still above 4%. And of course, our interest earnings are down, just reflective of the drop in interest rates from this time last year. That's all I've got, unless you have any
Questions?
questions.
All good. Thank you very much.
You bet.
15, board appointed committee updates. 16, correspondence reports from conferences and meetings. Stacy, nothing? Any future agenda items? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.